Okay, hi, Bran here. Today I want to talk about this very, very important issue that's been in my head for a while that I want to get out there. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get on it. So the issue at hand that I want to talk about is called ringing the behavior bell. Ringing the behavior bell. What do I mean by ringing the behavior bell? Well, let's define that real quick because that's going to be the whole basis of everything. Basically, ringing the behavior bell is like whenever anything goes wrong in the game, when everything happens in the game that you are not a fan of, that you don't like, you say, behavior, change this. That's like your immediate thought. Your immediate thought is behavior, change this. And some of you go as far as to like go on their Twitter when they post about things that are like entirely separate, like entirely different from what your issue is, and you're just like, nah, you need to fix this right away, you know, and you're not even like, the post has nothing to do with anything. So your main process, your main thought process, your main idea is, man, whenever something goes wrong in this game, I want behavior, the company to change it right away. I want them to come to my rescue right away. I think in general that this is a very, very like unrealistic and kind of a toxic way to see the game, because realistically, nobody like realistically the devs, not that they don't care, they care to some extent, obviously, because you know they're a company, they want to make money, but most issues that I see a lot of people complain about usually are issues that affect people who are at like rank 1. Yeah, this is a very, very toxic way to view the game, because while the devs care just in the sense that, you know, they want to make money, they're not going to change every little thing that you ask to be balanced just because it bothers you, because what bothers you may not bother somebody else. But there is a line where I think that ringing the behavior bell is okay, so let's go ahead and clearly define that. So let's take an example that's been of hot topic, of hot debate lately. This would be the spirit counterplay argument. As you've seen, some of the best minds, the best players that we have in the game, or at least the content creators with thousands and thousands of hours, are putting their brains to the headstone here. They're really, really trying to find out the best ways to counter spirit, if there is a way to counter spirit. And they're doing a lot of rigorous tests right now, and they're coming up with a lot of different results. Some say, you know, it's still 50-50. Some say, hey, if you just do this, it's pretty reliable, but it's still like incredibly cost efficient and terrible. But essentially what is happening is the best minds in the game are putting through rigorous tests to try and figure out how to counterplay a killer and finding next to nothing. And the things they're finding are very little. So essentially, after rigorous tests, after doing so much, they are still not coming up with anything. That is a good example of when you should probably ring the behavior bell. Because if you have gone through all these rigorous tests, if you have gone through everything, if you've done everything in your power to correct the issue at hand, if you've done everything in your power to correct this issue that's at hand, and there's still nothing you can do to correct it, if you've run up against a wall and there's little to nothing you can do about the issue over and over and over consistently, it might be time to ring the behavior bell, because, you know, you've done everything in your power to manage this issue, to fix this issue, and nothing's being changed, and there's nothing you can do. Because that's when you can ring the behavior bell, because, hey, company who made game, this thing makes it to where I can't really play the game or play the game well, and I've done everything I can to fix this, and there's nothing I can do in my hands anymore. There's nothing I can do. Or if I can do something, it's very minimal, very situational, and it doesn't help too much. It's not that effective. So I need you to step in here, buds. That's a good time, I think, to ring the behavior bell. However, what I mostly see when people are ringing the behavior bell is not in this scenario. Most people don't do everything in their power to try and resolve an issue before they start ringing the behavior bell. A lot of people are very, very quick to jump on it the moment an issue happens. I think a good example of this is Dead Hard, because I've strangely seen a lot of people say that Dead Hard needs to be buffed because it's inconsistent. Okay. So in short, Dead Hard has startup frames that are not invincible. It has a middle part. Where it is invincible, and then it has recovery frames. Basically, all things in most games, you know, interact in that sort of thing. They just don't do an iframe thing in the middle. It's a startup, animation in the middle, and then recovery. You know, that's just how it happens. You know, that's just how games work. But with, you know, games like, obviously, like Dark Souls has one, but, you know, Resident Evil 3 has something like this, but now Dead by Daylight has something like this where, you know, it has startup frames, the center parts where the effect happens, which is the invincibility, and then there's recovery. So a lot of people have this complaint that's like, I get exhausted on the floor all the time. Dead Hard's just inconsistent and it just doesn't work. And there's an internet aspect to that. There's a server or getting dedicated aspect to that, which is definitely a server problem. It's not a Dead Hard problem, but it's a server problem that probably is messing with things. But in reality, a lot of the time I see people throw Dead Hard and go, Dead Hard? Or I'm exhausted on the floor. It's because they did it way too early. The move does have startup frames. It just does. That is the way it works. It's not invincible the whole way. So if you do it too early because you anticipate the killer's attack way too late, you're gonna get hit because the invincibility hasn't fired off yet. You're still like readying your little thing. So that's not the game's fault. And the fact that I've seen people ring the behavior bell and want Dead Hard buffed, one of the strongest perks in the game buffed because you got dedicated by the server or your timing is bad? Hello? Are you serious? You're serious? No way, dude. No way. You have not done everything in your power to resolve that issue. You have not done everything in your power to make sure that that is not happening. I've been running Dead Hard lately. You know, I knew I was going to make this video, and I knew this was going to be the example I was going to use. So I've been running Dead Hard a lot lately, and I as somebody who does not run that perk, I miss like half of the time, and it's not because the perk is broken. It's just because I'm not used to the timing because I don't run it because I don't like that perk. So I mess up the timing all the time, but it's not behavior's fault. It's not the game's fault. It's me. I don't know any better. I don't run this perk enough to know the timing very well. I got a good idea because I play against Killer all the time, so I know generally when it's a good time to use it. But that's just from the other side. Actually being on the survivor side, you have to adjust for, like, you know, the server, and then the killer seeing something different than you're seeing, and etc, etc. But yeah, like, what I'm trying to say, TLDR, is that you could have done more in this situation to anticipate what's going on. You could have done more in the situation before you rang the behavior bell to come fix something. I am still astounded that I saw that somebody asked for Dead Hard to be buffed or improved when it is one of the strongest perks in the game. Oh boy. Ring the behavior bell just whenever, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, cool jets. Don't ring the behavior bell unless you've done literally everything in your power to, you know, resolve the situation, to make sure the situation is actually, you know, on the game side and it's not your fault. But like in situations with like the spirit thing where like some of the best minds in the game have gone at it and still aren't finding much results, maybe that is the time to ring the behavior bell. So yeah, I hope you liked this little rant that I made, and I hope I can see you again soon. And if I don't see you soon, I'll see you when I see you, friend. Goodbye.